Hi, it's Cafeteria Labrish, Moon in the Fatigable Heights, and I come to empty my belly today and give you everything. And an unboxing and unveiling, or damn this, that, and the third, and everything else that was as is expected. So now we're like, doing what needed to be done. So there's some last minute stuff that I want to talk about that I didn't get to talk about with you. And that is um we did the basketball wives, we did the Real Housewives. Now we want to talk about stay sweet, pray, and obey. Oh my God. Stay sweet, pray, and obey. Oh my God. So Netflix released this limited series, docuseries on they just released it on the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Day Saints, and its leader, whose name was Warren Jeffs. Oh my God. It's a cross between Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and The Handmaid's Tale. So imagine me caught up in all this drama. I turned my TV on that. So the let's call it the FLDS, the Fundamentalist Latin, the Fundamentalist Latter Day Saints Church is an offshoot of the Latter Day Saints Church that allows for polygamy and the practice of multiple spouses. So the guy Warren Jeffs got the prophet mantle from his father Rulon Jeffs, who was the prophet of the church and the sole delegator of wives to their husbands. So this man would give wives to men. I don't know where they started this at. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how they did that. I don't know how regular human beings signed up, joined up, and went into somewhere and then had somebody else tell them who their husband and their wife was. Okay. So Jeffs continued to preach polygamy as a principal doctrine of the church, saying that it is essential in order to attain the highest level of salvation. And the way that you attain the highest level of salvation is by how many wives you have. So we wanted to get to heaven with a lot of wives. So the documentary looks at survivors of the church, including Rebecca Musser, who was a former wife of Warren's father, Rulon. She's left the church. She's a writer now, activist and author, and she published a book called The Witness Were Read, the 19th wife who brought polygamous cult leaders to justice in 2013. She was a key witness at the trial for Warren Jeffs, in addition to helping law enforcement in the analysis of the church after the 2008 raid of the church branch in Texas. This is a true story now. I done told you already now. Follow the arrow. It is a cross between Real Housewife of Salt Lake City, allegedly, and The Handmaid's Tale. So you remember how in Real Housewife of Salt Lake City, everybody was related somehow with the blondes? Those blonde people with the blonde with the blue eyes and all that stuff, they were related. And I think one of the reasons why Heather looked like that is because of the inbreeding, because there's a lot of inbreeding, allegedly. So remember, it was Heather and Whitney Rose, who were like related by some great grandfather, somebody who had impregnated everybody in the village. Child. So in 2011, Warren Jeffs was found guilty of sexual assault of a child and sentenced to life in prison. At the time of his arrest, he had 24 wives that were underage. So that's basically the story. My God. Netflix done found these people and done brought these people into this place and put them in this documentary and done told us everything. They done had on these pastel covers. They was going to Zion. It was a place where he built a temple in Texas, taking the kids away from the parents, separating the parents, like giving the daughters to men, old men, lecherous and dirty old men, and or men that wanted to be married to like 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds and stuff like that. And Warren stole the leadership when his father died. I don't know if he killed his father. It was alleged. I don't know what they was really saying, because the prophet was never supposed to die. So I don't know if somebody killed him. I don't know what happened. He was the prophet. Then he died, and that threw everybody in uproar. And then what Warren did was Warren came and said, "Oh, I am my father returned." So he said his father's spirit went into him when he died, and he became the prophet, and so he was prophesying. And if you was married and you had your husband, he would just come one day and be like, "I saw in the spirit that that's not your husband. You got a new husband." And he would take these women and give them to other men, multiple women, and the children and the daughters. And then he would say, "Oh, this is not your family. You are not the father." And he kicked the people out of the village and kept their kids and their wives and gave their wives to somebody else and said, like, burn the pictures. This man doesn't exist no more. So these kids would never know that that was their dad. Like, this was just a lot going on. Netflix, keep sweet, pray, and obey. It traumatized me. This weekend, I could not go to sleep. I kept watching that. The man Warren Jeffs was a demon from the pit of hell, and he was using spirituality, and they locked him up, and he's incarcerated at the Louis C. Paulette unit of the TDCJ near Palestine, Texas. He is still in jail. He was carrying them kids across state lines. He was selling the females. He was bargaining and bartering with young female girls. And he was advancing and elevating his business prospects with bartering these young female women. Even the young and the old, he was bartering them. If they were married already and somebody saw them and had lust for them and decided they wanted them to be their wife, he would just take them and give them to him for whatever deal he could get. Like, this is what Warren was doing. This one woman, she was married to his father, and then his father died, and she married the brother, and then he put the brother out and gave her to the other brother. It was just some biblical stuff, like with Moses and Aaron and Abraham and Ezekiel and Daniel, and it was just a lot. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Netflix, keep sweet, pray, and obey. You gotta watch it. That is enough of that sickness. I am done with that. You know, it's Cafeteria Elaboration. You know, we're going to talk about everything on this. All right, so we're going to talk about Elon Musk, because Elon Musk misses me and I miss him. So Elon has been doing quite a number of things in the past couple of days, months, 2 months, that I have not talked about him. He has been busy. First things first, they done came up. I'm politely here saying Elon Musk is the only one that does not, you know, have any type of sexual harassment claims against him. And even when I was talking about him, you know, last year, and about the CNN people and everybody who was being outed and all the things that were occurring. So all the things that were occurring, I was talking about, and I was saying, is it cold outside? Why is there heat? Why is the heat knocking? Anyway, child. So, anyway, isn't it?
It's a bit cold.
70-something degrees?
70-something degrees?
You said 70 degrees.
Yeah, it's just a bit chilly. Not really.
Ch
It's hot, but it's not.
So,
if that makes sense.
Somebody's literally playing with the heat, and it is 70 degrees. Check the weather for today.
I did.
Make sure it's today, because sometimes the weather might be for tomorrow. So anyway, so they were like, okay, so Elon was the only person that I said who did not get caught up in the sexual harassment case. Well, I spoke too soon, and whoever commented on my page, we all spoke too soon, because allegedly there was something occurring, and back in May, around the 20th or so, it was revealed that there was a SpaceX flight attendant that was paid $250,000 after Musk allegedly exposed himself to her and asked her to engage in intimate relations. So, um, when Elon purchased 9% of Twitter shares and then decided that he was going to go on the board of Twitter's, and then he put that on hold, they allegedly said he did not want to submit to a background check. And then he decided to buy the whole company, which is still currently pending. And then people wanted to know, why would he want to dodge the background check? And then it's because they said allegedly has an incident where he had to pay off a female flight attendant after he exposed himself allegedly and pressured her to have intimate relations with him after giving him a massage. All these people with their massages and their eroticism around massages, I want to know what's the appeal. No, I don't. I kind of think I do. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go into that story. To be fair, you can't technically spell SpaceX without, it's a lot going on and a lot to unpack. Business Insider is the one that broke the news of a $250,000 settlement that was paid out in 2018 to settle a intimacy misconduct claim with a flight attendant from SpaceX corporate jet fleet. Business Insider stated that the anonymous flight attendant claims that in 2016 he sexually assaulted her. She accused him of exposing himself to her, rubbing her, and then asking her for the massage and telling her he would buy her a horse. Speaking of that massage, she confided to the friend that after taking the flight attendant job, she was encouraged to get licensed as a masseuse so that she could give Musk massages. Everybody wants massages. Musk, Jeffrey Epstein, this one, that one. I hope this ain't true. I don't know why they try to put him in that light. Whatever. It was doing one such massage in a private cabin that she told a friend that he propositioned her. This is a friend. This is all hearsay. I haven't gotten no details, so I feel like right about now they wanted to throw the same book that they threw at Entercomo at Elon Musk, only that he paid $250,000 to keep it out of the public eye. The flight attendant claims that he removed the sheet and he revealed himself and all the stuff that she said. And she said that he offered to buy her a horse. A horse? Why a horse? Like what? Where she live? She got a farm? She got a ranch? She got a plantation? Where is she gonna put the horse? Is they gonna keep it at his house? Is he gonna buy for her? Is it gonna be in her name? How she gonna where that horse gonna go? I just kind of really want to know why a horse, not a Tesla, a horse. She allegedly told her friend what happened and noted that work started to dry up for her on the SpaceX jet after she turned him down. In the same week, Elon boasted that he's voting Republican in the next election because Democrats are known to resort to dirty smear campaigns. Well, I guess that's what's up. And then what do you know? He responded to the allegations against him by claiming it's all a politically motivated smear campaign. And he tweeted, and I quote, "In the past, I voted Democrat because they were mostly the kindness party, but they have become the party of division and hate, so I can no longer support them and will vote Republican. Now watch their dirty tricks campaign against me unfold." So he must have knew this was coming up. Then he says, judging by the relentless hate stream from the far left, this tweet was spot on. Okay, Elon, you are doing the most. "The attacks against me should be viewed through a political lens. This is their standard, despicable playbook, but nothing will deter me from fighting for a good future and your right to fair speech." And so the fight continues because he is not giving up and he is moving forward and he has put these allegations behind him. But I had to come tell you about them because this is my audience and we do Elon Musk over here. So after Insider contacted Musk for comment, he emailed to ask for more time to respond and said there's a lot more to this story. Okay. He says, "If I were inclined to engage in intimacy harassment, this is unlikely to be the first time in my entire 30-year career that it comes to light." He wrote, calling the story a politically motivated hit piece. And a rep for SpaceX told Business Insider that they don't comment on settlements and as such had no comment on this story. But Elon still has much more to say, which, okay, Elon, what else do you have to say? He says, "Finally, we get to use Elongate as scandal name. It's kind of perfect." He's tweeting away around this allegation. He said, "If there's ever a scandal about me, please call it Elongate." I'm like, Elon just wants a scandal because ain't really no scandal there, child. "And for the record, those wild accusations are utterly untrue." Like, I don't believe it. I don't know why you... Okay. "But I have a challenge to this liar who claims their friends saw me exposed. Describe just one thing, anything at all, scars, tattoos, that isn't known by the public." She won't be able to do so because it never happened. I don't think it happened either. It's too much going around the world back and forth, and the he said, she said is not for me. So that went away really quickly. We heard nothing more about that, but that came up right around the time when he's deciding, does he want to vote Democratic? He's deciding, does he want to buy Twitter? And all these other things that are coming forth in the midst of everything. So around May 28th, a little bit under a month ago. So wait, he did tweet about the he did tweet about the horse. He said, hey, hold on. He was replying to somebody else. Elon Musk tweets that he'll give YouTube co-founder a horse if he touches his intimate weapon after mockingly dubbing claims he intimately harassed private jet stewardess and pay her $250K hush money is being elongated. And this is dailymail.com. So Musk offered Chad Hurley a horse in a tweet. The tweet was in reference to misconduct allegations that emerged on Thursday. Musk slammed claims that he lewdly prepositioned a flight attendant. He joked about it being referred to as Elongate. He also called the 2016 Hillary Clinton tweet about Russiagate a hoax. And he went to Brazil as he's pursuing his $44 billion acquisition of Twitter. So that's what occurred. Now, Twitter slapped the billionaire with a lawsuit, claiming that he's been trying to drive down the stock price instead of secluding yourself on an island and doing nothing forever like the rest of the world. Elon continues to do what Elon does. Twitter users have been monitoring the situation to find out if the social media platform will stay the same. But Elon Musk bought up enough shares to become Twitter's majority shareholder, entertained and rejected becoming a board member, announced that he would straight up purchase the platform for $43 million, fought with Twitter shareholders some more until eventually everyone settled on the buyout, stated that he was putting everything on hold until Twitter could prove that the site wasn't riddled with bots, and then declared that he was becoming a Republican because he got accused of being a intimacy pest. But Twitter shareholders filed a lawsuit accusing Elon Musk of engaging in unlawful conduct aimed at sowing doubt about his bid to buy the social media company. The lawsuit claimed the billionaire has sought to drive down Twitter's stock price because he wants to walk away from the deal or negotiate a substantially lower purchase price. The lawsuit also references Elon's initial purchase of Twitter stock, which made him the majority stakeholder. It was shady to say the least. So right now, we don't even know what is the status of the buying and the buyout. All right. So now they filed a lawsuit. We're in the middle of that. We haven't heard nothing else about that. And then on June 2nd, he ordered Tesla employees to stop working from home and return to the office for 40 hours a week. So he sent them leaked emails that said, come back to the office for 40 plus hours a week or we will assume you have resigned. Elon sent 2 emails in the beginning of June. First one subject line reads, remote work is no longer acceptable. It says that employees need to be in the office for a minimum of 40 hours a week or depart Tesla, so you're fired. He writes that if there are particularly exceptional contributors from whom this is impossible, he will review and approve those people directly. He added that the office must be a main Tesla office, not a remote branch office. And in a follow-up email entitled "To Be Super Clear," he repeats that everyone must come back to the office. He said employees can't try to scam the company by working at some remote pseudo office. They need to be where your actual colleagues are located. He wrote that some companies don't require this, but when was the last time they shipped a great new product? It's been a while. And he finished with Tesla has and will create and actually manufacture the most exciting and meaningful products of any company on this earth. This will not happen by phoning it in. Right, that's a she, right, that's a we. So he responded to a Twitter user who asked him to comment on the emails. He said, Tesla, this is less than we ask of factory workers. If they're particularly exceptional contributors, they put the email, and he said they should pretend to work somewhere else. You know what? He said they're pretending to work. They should pretend to work somewhere else. Elon Musk is serious. He's not playing. Now, a couple weeks before that, around May 17, the news broke that Apple was delaying its plans to have staff return to the office 3 days a week. And Elon responded with a meme of a lazy dog. And said, put on gym clothes, watch TV. You know what? Okay, Elon. So that's where we are. So on June 6th, it came out that Elon Musk seems to be having some major buyer's remorse over his recent announcement that he's buying Twitter for $44 billion, and he's made it known that he's ready to back out of the deal in an instant. If Twitter is unable to provide Elon with the information he needs before he forks over all those billions, and what does Elon want? Exact numbers on just how many fake accounts a future Twitter owner might find on such a social media platform. Twitter has explicitly stated that they're 100% committed to the sale by any means necessary, like by bringing in a team of lawyers and enforcing a merger agreement. But Elon doesn't care about that right now. All he wants is the details on those fake accounts. Twitter has tried to crack down on fake accounts, but their efforts are not satisfactory to Elon, who claims that the spam bots are the sole reason why he would want to back out of the Twitter deal. An attorney for Musk wrote that the company is actively resisting and thwarting his information rights in regards to a dispute over spam accounts and threatened to terminate the deal. The letter follows a weeks-long back and forth between Musk and the company regarding how many active users of the service are real people as opposed to bots or spam accounts. He declined due diligence early in the process, has since requested further data from the company, and also tweeted that the deal was on hold, although behind-the-scenes works appears to have continued since then. According to the internet, Twitter has about 330 million monthly active users, and what Elon wants to know is exactly how many of those monthly active users can't be found in real life. Twitter previously reported that they believe less than 5% of users are fake accounts. Twitter allegedly sent Elon a detailed report on January 1st regarding the possible number of fake accounts, which most likely echoes their previous claim of being less than 5%. Elon has refused to accept Twitter's most recent analysis and decided to do his own research into the situation with the help of all of Twitter's data, of course. If he doesn't get what he wants, he's out. Why is Elon so hung up on the fake bots flying around Twitter? Never has a person cared so much about a spam account in the history of social media. He says some hate humanity, but I love humanity so much. I don't even know what Elon is talking about. But for me, he's saying that Twitter is so, like, what does he say? It's so important for free speech and all this and all that. But what I see is that Twitter is a hive thing, group thing. When you plug into Twitter, you plug into the Matrix. So Twitter is going to be the Matrix. We got to be on there all day long, tweeting all day long, plugged in, talking to people, meeting people, interacting with people, agreeing with people, arguing with people. So just as late as today, Elon Musk's transgender daughter wants to legally change her name to distance herself from her biological father in any way, shape, or form. I didn't even know Elon had a transgender daughter. Well, we about to find out. We didn't know none of Elon's kids, so where'd she come from? Whoa, so looks like at least one of Elon's children likes him as much as the world does. NBC News says that one of Elon's eldest twins has filed legal documents to not only recognize her gender identity as female, but also to cut ties to her father. So they are going from male to female, I think. They no longer want to be a Musk. Vivian Jenna Wilson says in legal documents that she no longer wants to be related to their biological father in any way, shape, or form. So Elon and Grimes are over, and now one of his kids is like divorcing him. And Elon wants to go to Mars, but who's going to be taking the kids? Elon has 7 children. His eldest twins, Griffin and Vivian, are now 18 years old, and he also has 16-year-old triplets, Damien, Saxon, and Kai. And then he has, so 18, 16, and he shares all 5 children with his first wife, Justine Wilson, who divorced him in 2008. And I guess the kids have the last name because who don't want to directly share that they're Musk. Elon has 2 children with Grimes, EXEAA12, and extra. The real legal name of the girl is Exa Dark Sidereal Israel. Well, one of those 7 kids has asked for a name change. I'm more of them going to ask for a name change as life goes on. This will not be the first or the last, because EX and Exa, I don't think they're going to keep those names. Nope. So we'll see what happened down the line. Vivian has come into her identity as a trans woman and filed documents in Los Angeles, changed her name and cut ties with her father. She has filed a request to change her name in accordance with her new gender identity because she no longer lives with or wishes to be related to her biological father in any way, shape, or form. The petition for the name change and the new birth certificate reflecting her new gender identity was filed in Los Angeles, according to delisted.com. And it came to light recently in some online media reports. Her former name was Xavier Alexander Musk. She recently turned 18, the age of consent in California, and has asked the court to change her gender from male to female and to register her new name. Okay. TMZ says that the hearing for the name change is this coming Friday, and if you're wondering why Vivian may want to distance herself from her father, in 2020 he tweeted that I absolutely support trans, but all these pronouns are an aesthetic nightmare, and recently he came out as leaning in support of anti-trans Republican Ron DeSantis for president, who in Florida has made it legal to check children's genitals to weed out the trans danger. So this won't be the last time, according to Delisted, one of Elon's children's files to change their name. I guarantee it as well. As soon as X turns 18, that child is going to straight become somebody else. Ryan, Tom, Paul, I don't know. And that's it for that. So in addition to that, so in our SpaceX news, the Pentagon explores using SpaceX for rocket deployed quick reaction force. So the Pentagon envisions a future in which Elon Musk's rockets might someday deploy a quick reaction force to thwart a future Benghazi-style attack. So in October 2020, U.S. Transcom, the Pentagon office tasked with shuttling cargo to keep the American global military presence humming, announced that it was partnering with Musk's SpaceX rocketry company to determine the feasibility of quickly blasting supplies into space and back to Earth rather than flying them through air. So a U.S. Transcom press release exclaimed that one day SpaceX massive Starship rocket could quickly move critical logistics during time-sensitive contingencies and deliver humanitarian assistance. So while the Pentagon alluded to potentially shuttling unspecified personnel through these brief space jaunts, the emphasis of the announcement was clearly on moving freight. But U.S. Transcom has more imaginative uses in mind, according to internal documents. So although SpaceX is already functionally a defense contractor, launching American military satellites and bolstering Ukrainian communication links, the report provides 3 examples of potential future Department of Defense use cases for point-to-point space transportation. The first, perhaps a nod to American anxieties about Chinese hegemony, notes that space transportation provides an alternative method for logistics delivery in the Pacific. The second imagines SpaceX rockets delivering an Air Force deployable air-based system, a collection of shelters, vehicles, construction equipment, and other gear that can be pre-positioned around the globe and moved to any place the USAF needs to stand up air operations. But the third imagined use case is more provocative and less prosaic than the first two, titled only Embassy Support. Scenarios in which a rapid theater direct delivery capability from the U.S. to an African base would prove extremely important in supporting the Department of State's mission in Africa, potentially including the use of a quick reaction force, a military term for a rapidly deployed armed unit typically used in crisis conditions. The ability to merely demonstrate this use of a SpaceX Starship, the document notes, could deter non-state actors from aggressive acts towards the United States. Though the scenario is devoid of details, the notion of an African embassy under sudden attack from a non-state actor is reminiscent of the infamous 2012 Benghazi incident when armed militants attacked an American diplomatic compound in Libya, spurring a quick reaction force later criticized of having arrived too late to help. All right, so that's what they want to do. Musk and Pentagon have a long history of making stratospherically grand claims that dazzling and entirely implausible technologies, whether safe self-driving cars and hyperloop or railguns and missile sweat and lasers, are just around the corner. All four, as noted in another U.S. Transcom document obtained via FOIA, all four Starship high-altitude tests resulted in the craft dramatically exploding, although a May 2021 test conducted after the document's creation landed safely. What are they going to do? Stop the next Benghazi by sending people into space? It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. If a mob's attacking an embassy and they dial up their handy SpaceX spaceship, it's still going to take a while to get there. It's almost like someone thinks it would be really neat to do stuff through space but haven't thought through the practical ramifications. Also pointed Hartung, a research fellow at the Quincy Institute who focuses on the U.S. arms industry and defense budget, also said the Pentagon's track record of space-based fantasy weapons like Star Wars missile defense, elaborate projects that soak up massive budgets but amount to nothing. So that's that. That's the news online for the Pentagon and SpaceX. The SpaceX launch may have cast an invisible red glow over the night sky. Though unseen by the naked eye, the aurora-like scenes streaking across the Milky Way were captured by photographers. Wow, it's beautiful, really. Let me show it to you. Wow, isn't that beautiful? I think so. So, the Milky Way was cast in an eerie shadow of red early Sunday, bewildering sky-watching photographers across the mid-Atlantic. Only a lucky few captured the spectacle on camera, and it wasn't visible to the naked eye. Long exposure photographs revealed the scarlet streak, which lasted for only minutes around 12:30 a.m. Sunday. Many think the red glow was tied to the launch of SpaceX Falcon 9, which occurred about the same time. They're linking the glow to the SpaceX rocket. Somebody said, I had no idea what this was and it was kind of freaking me out. He later concluded that the glow was linked to the SpaceX rocket because of the launch timing. About the same time that Johnston and Hoffman photographed the glow, David Courtner of Rutherford College, North Carolina, captured what he described as rocket-powered aurora. Space physicist Carlos Martinez said the photographer's hunch are probably correct. He said the red blob was related to the engine burn of the Falcon 9's second stage, which typically starts about 3 minutes after liftoff and lasts about 6 minutes. So these days, cameras became very sensitive and can capture things that before were possible only with scientific instruments. So red glows have been observed with past rocket launches. This is WashingtonPost.com, including that of a Titan rocket in 2005. In general, such disturbances in the ionosphere do not harm humans, but they can affect GPS signals and disrupt aircraft navigation. Typically, however, these events and effects can be predicted as launch dates, times, and trajectories are known ahead of time. So that's that. So the U.S. and the Pentagon are thinking about using SpaceX for a fleet of militarized starships. The Pentagon is considering utilizing Elon Musk rockets to deploy a rapid reaction force to foil a future Benghazi-style attack. So we did talk about that. All right. So... oh boy. Tesla lays off the head of the LGBTQ plus and diversity lead amid Musk's woke mind virus concerns. Oh no, this is not good. Tesla has laid off both the president of its LGBTQ plus community and a lead involved in diversity and inclusivity programs at the company. While they were let go as part of a broader wave of layoffs that comes amid several comments Tesla CEO Elon Musk made concerning what he describes as the woke mind virus. Earlier this month, we reported on Musk telling, this is electric.com, we reported on Musk telling executives in an email that they need to cut 10% of the workforce and pause hiring due to having a super bad feeling about the economy. Oh my God. Later, the CEO decided to clarify the Tesla layoffs in an email to all employees. He claimed that the 10% reduction would be for salaried headcount due to Tesla becoming overstaffed following a long growth phase. Tesla ramped up the layoffs last week and reported that unlike what Musk said, they did include hourly employees. Now we learned that many employees involved in diversity and inclusivity programs were part of the layoffs, including the president of Tesla's LGBTQ plus community and a lead involved in diversity and inclusivity programs at the company. According to sources familiar with the matter, Bobby Beretta Paris, a 5-year Tesla veteran, was let go last week. He was hired as a recruiter and promoted 3 times during his tenure. He was also the volunteer president of LGBTQ plus at Tesla. Sources also told Electric about a software engineer that was also let go by Tesla last week. They had been working at Tesla for 4 years, most recently as senior software engineer in charge of naming conventions in Tesla's vehicle UI team, and had been promoted 3 times. The software engineer volunteered as a diversity and inclusion leader and was involved in employee protection when it came to issues of diversity and inclusion. The name was removed. Beretta Paris and the software engineer involved in the diversity and inclusion program didn't respond to a request for comment. This is in the middle of Elon Musk making statements about what he calls the woke mind virus. So somebody tweeted him and said, just curious, what is your motivation to become politically active? Why make yourself a target? You're trying to get mankind to Mars and alert the public to the danger of AI. Why sabotage these worthwhile goals by wading into political controversy? Is it worth it? And he says, unless it is stopped, the woke mind virus will destroy civilization and humanity will never reach Mars. What does he mean by that? So the CEO never elaborated on what he meant by woke mind virus. Is that a virus to have a woke to be woke? While the word woke originally represented someone who is alert to societal injustice, it has now mostly been co-opted by the right to mock progressive activism or more extremist left-wing ideas. Musk never used the word publicly until the last few weeks, around the time that he started to get more political and declared that the Democratic Party is the party of hate. He said he'll be voting Republican going forward. Are you alone to vote Republican? Because I don't care where the Democrat them do. I not left from the Democrat and go vote no Republican because I don't know who them people them. It will be a coincidence that many people involved in what could describe as wokeness at Tesla were part of the layoffs, but it's certainly not a good look when some of the top people involved in diversity programs are laid off amid Musk's comments on woke. Musk's recent comments mimic many in the right about concerns regarding woke ideas infiltrating the tech industry. I wouldn't be surprised if Musk sees that happening at Twitter and will be taking steps to prevent it from happening at Tesla. I do hope that the people at Tesla who benefit from these programs are still going to be able to do so in the future, because I don't know what this means for, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means for being woke, Tesla, the virus, I don't know. Elon Musk says 3 issues need resolving before the Twitter deal can be finalized. Earning shareholder approval, obtaining debt financing, and getting answers to his questions about spam and fake accounts on the platform. So that's what we're waiting for Elon to decide if that deal is going to go through or not. In addition to that, there's a lawsuit that Tesla illegally fired thousands of workers, and and denied them pay. So that's something else to watch. Also, just in the news, Tesla is tracking to have a working prototype humanoid robot by the end of September.
Okay.
So Elon says that Tesla is tracking to have a working prototype humanoid robot called the Optimus by the end of September. Last month, he announced Tesla AI Day number 2 with many cool updates on August 19. The original Tesla AI Day last year was an event focused on the company's self-driving program. The automaker also unveiled its Dojo supercomputer and announced plans for the Tesla bot humanoid robot now known as Tesla Optimus. The AI Day 2 was supposed to be held a year to the day after the first one, but Musk took to Twitter earlier this month to delay the event to September 30th. As for the reason for the delay, the CEO said that Tesla may have a working prototype of Optimus by then. So today, during an interview at the Qatar Economic Forum, Musk said that Tesla is tracking toward having a working prototype of its humanoid robot. He says, well, I hope that we'll have an interesting prototype to show people. We have a very talented team at Tesla that I'm working with closely to have a prototype humanoid robot ready by the end of September, and I think we're tracking to that point. And there'll be a few other exciting things that we talk about at the Tesla AI Day. We have these sort of AI Day events just to emphasize that Tesla is a lot more than a car company and that we are, in my view, the leading real-world AI company that exists. And that's it. Tesla is expected to give updates on its Dojo supercomputer, which trains its neutral nets, and a more general update on its self-driving effort, which is the first real-world application of Tesla's AI. During the interview, Musk also called again for an agency to oversee and regulate AI development in order to help steer the technology toward public good. All right, and that's it for Tesla, SpaceX, Elon Musk, and let's see what... So what we got going on with NASA is that the Artemis moon rocket fueling test is partly completed. NASA had its fourth attempt on Monday today to complete a practice countdown for the rocket that is to take astronauts to the moon. It was too early to know whether the rehearsal would be enough to give the go-ahead for the rocket, the Space Launch System, to launch the Orion capsule on a test flight around the moon with no astronauts aboard. They believe it was a very successful day and again accomplished a majority of the objectives, Charlie Blackwell-Thompson, the launch director, said during a news conference on Tuesday. However, there is a new problem, which is hydrogen leaking in a fuel line connector, and it cropped up. So by warming up and then cooling the connector again, engineers hoped that the sea would shift enough to stop the leaking. That did not work. During a relaunch, that problem would have been the end of the countdown for the 322-foot tall rocket. But the exercise on Monday was what NASA calls a wet dress rehearsal, wet because of the flowing of actual fuel into the propellant tanks that is designed to work out glitches and procedures without the excitement of engines igniting and the rocket rising to space. So with the countdown clock paused at T10 minutes, engineers worked out a plan where a valve would be closed to stop the leak and errors would be suppressed to allow the countdown to proceed to test other rocket components and launch procedures. Mr. Blackwell-Thompson approved the plans and the countdown continued until, as expected, the countdown terminated within 29 seconds left. The liquid oxygen and the liquid hydrogen were then drained from the rocket. On Tuesday, NASA officials said they needed to sift through the data to see what they might still need to do before they feel they're ready to launch the rocket. The Space Launch System and Orion, the capsule on top, were astronauts will state are essential components for Artemis, NASA's program to send astronauts back to the moon. Still, NASA officials were ecstatic with the progress. Thomas Whitmire, NASA's Deputy Associate Administrator for Common Exploration Systems Development, said that filling the propellant tanks and counting down so close to zero were major milestones. This is we're looking at the pieces of the puzzle to decide what are the pieces that we didn't get, but we also got an awful lot of pieces to the puzzle put together, and we have a pretty good idea of what the puzzle looks like at this point. So in April, 3 tries to conduct a wet dress rehearsal all ended early because of a variety of problems. The rocket was rolled back to a giant garage called the Vehicle Assembly Building, where technicians could more readily diagnose the problems and make repairs. The hiatus also allowed time for an off-site vendor to upgrade its facility that provided nitrogen gas used to purge hazardous gases to the Kennedy Space Center. During 2 of the rehearsal attempts, disruptions in the nitrogen supply delayed the countdowns. NASA could decide to perform another wet dress rehearsal, or it could decide it has enough data and roll the rocket back to the Vehicle Assembly Building one last time for final preparations for launch, which include installing the self-destruct mechanism to destroy the rocket in case something goes wrong during flight. For Artemis 1, the rocket would launch and send the Orion capsule on a lengthy trip around the moon. It would then circle back on its way to re-entering Earth's atmosphere and splashing down for an ocean landing. The second Artemis flight, scheduled for 2024, would have astronauts on board for a similar trip without landing on the moon. And this is according to NewYorkTimes.com. And that's it for NASA. So that's SpaceX, Tesla, Elon Musk, and NASA, and their Artemis moon rocket. Right. So, that's it. I don't want to talk about the mix up with Obama and NASA. Obama been gone so long. So that's it for that. We done gave you all the tech news. Okay. The Fantastic Beats. Fantastic. The Secrets of Dumbledore. Oh my God, I just watched that, so I had to tell you about it. It's on HBOMAX. So, in this, it's like,
Harry Potter.
the third installment of the Harry Potter prequel franchise, following the Magi-zoologist Newt Scamander finds him with the help of Albus Dumbledore, foiling Grindelwald's attempts to grasp power. And it stars Eddie Redmayne and Jude Law, with Mads Mikkelsen replacing Johnny Depp as the villainous Dark Wizard. Secrets of Dumbledore is people think it's a bad project, but for me it was good. I really sat and watched it in one sitting. It was awesome and amazing. I really wanted to talk about it because so we were talking about the Scamander. He went through really well. I like the plot of using the different suitcases. It kind of was an anticlimax for me. It didn't really climax as big as I would have wanted it to, with the whole Grindelwald thing and the animal and the this and the that. So it wasn't bad, but it was good. It was something that I enjoyed because I like my sci-fi movies, and I love sci-fi, and I love fantasy movies. So it did do that for me. I would give it maybe a 7 out of 10 for me, for movies of that kind. I love Fantastic Beasts. I watched 1, 2, and this is part 3. So that's something that I would watch The Ring. I watch, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, like Poseidon. I don't know, Prometheus. Like, I've watched all of those. So I'm really into my sci-fi and everything like that. So stay tuned to my news and reviews. That's something that I don't stop doing ever, my news and reviews. So you'll get a new news and reviews from me for the next thing that I'm wearing, that I am watching. In addition to that, I just want to go ahead and I did review my dress already. Okay. All right. So Ezra, Fantastic Beasts. Credence, the person who plays Credence in Fantastic Beasts, is the one and only Ezra Miller. Okay? Ezra Miller came out in this movie. They are in this movie. All right? And I wanted to talk about Ezra Miller because I want to know what is going on with Ezra Miller, y'all. It's just a little bit too much. So on June 16th, this is the news that I've been wanting to bring to you. Ezra Miller allegedly deleted their Instagram and posted memes mocking authorities who were trying to find them. Ezra Miller has allegedly groomed a child and kidnapped her, is the story that's going around the world, especially Twitter. And it reached a darker and messier level. So Ezra Miller is 29 years old, the star of DC's The Flash, and has been accused of grooming one Takata Iron Eyes. Beginning, they said, when Takata was 12 years old, and Takata is 18 now. Takata's parents tried to collect their child from Ezra and filed a protective order against Ezra, but in a moment that gave, Munchausen syndrome, Takata instead sided with Ezra. No one has been able to track the pair, and now Ezra has taunted authorities on Instagram, deleted their account, and disappeared. So, apart from menacing the people of Hawaii after multiple arrests for attacking strangers, because there were multiple arrests for attacking strangers, Ezra Miller was arrested in Hawaii for disorderly conduct, harassment at a bar, then later was a subject of a restraining order from the Hawaiian couple Ezra was staying with. Then Ezra got familiar with Hawaiian police. Was arrested for second degree assault. Ezra was arrested at a private residence in a subdivision in Pahoa, which is on the Big Island. Police responded that a get together got out of control at the residence. Ezra was asked to leave and refused, but attacked a woman instead, and the woman was refused treatment. They arrested Ezra at 1:30 a.m. after police found him on the roadway during a traffic stop. And Ezra was released, but Ezra had a busy morning because Ezra was also in court that morning to answer the charges that they were hit with the month before over the bar mess. Ezra pled no contest to the disorderly conduct charge and paid a $500 fine. Because of Ezra's no contest plea, the judge dropped the harassment charge. So it's just a bunch of stuff. According to Hawaii Police Assistant Chief, authorities have received 10 police calls regarding Ezra since March 7th. So whoever is answering the phone is probably saying, why is Ezra Miller really acting up like this? I want to know. Anyway, so Ezra is alleged to have given Takata drugs and alcohol at just 14 years old. And last December, Takata dropped out of school and moved into Ezra's home in Vermont. When Takata's parents went to get them, Takata did not have an ID or bank card and allegedly had bruises. Why would Takata at 14, why would Takata have an ID or bank card? Well, she would have an ID, but would she have a bank card? Where'd she work at? Takata fled from their parents and has been missing with Ezra ever since. Even defending Ezra on Instagram, calling their father transphobic. But Takata's parents aren't sure if that post came from Takata because they said their child doesn't have a phone. Duh, she's... CBR says that now Ezra has been on Instagram posting some memes which seem pretty specific. The memes themselves are saying stuff like, you cannot touch me, I'm in another universe. Message from another dimension. It's possible that, Ezra is referencing the Flash and the multiple versions of himself that Barry Allen met. The longest of the 5 messages read, I am shielded from negative people and their ill intent. My spirit, mind, body, soul, and success are not altered by anyone's envy. I am protected from all negative people attempt to throw at me. Subconsciously and consciously, I clear any and all hidden peers who are hidden enemies. Takata's parents are frustrated by the authorities' inability to locate their child in Ezra, and they're worried about how volatile Ezra is. So Miller moves around so much, they're in like legal limbo, and they can't serve Ezra in any place they're in long enough. They've been flighty, they're avoiding service, and now there's public pressure mounting on them to make a decision, which makes them concerned about Ezra's volatile nature. I don't understand because Ezra was also filming themselves getting beat up for NFT art. So Ezra has been going through a lot. I'm not exactly certain. Now, Ezra seems like one of these people that's been going through some alleged mind control type of situations because nobody don't just get out like this. In March, Ezra was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct and harassment at a bar in Hilo. Ezra was accused of snatching a microphone away from a woman who was singing karaoke. The next morning, Ezra had a restraining order filed against him by the couple that Ezra was staying with, which they later dropped the restraining order. Then Ezra was arrested again in a private house in a subdivision where they said that Ezra threw a chair at a lady's forehead after being told to leave. TMZ reports that police have just released body cam footage of that first arrest in which Ezra lets them know, I film myself when I get assaulted for NFT crypto art. The video, which surfaced on TMZ, was apparently taken from a police officer's body camera and begins with a man in a Hawaii bar saying he had just been playing darts when Miller walked up and spit on him for no discernible reason. Miller, who uses they/them pronouns, disputes this account, saying they were the one who had been assaulted in the bar. As the police walked Miller outside, the actor says they have their own video of the incident. Miller says, I was assaulted in this bar twice in a row. Miller says in the video, I film myself when I get assaulted for an NFT crypto art. If that's the case, then Ezra's working on quite a portfolio because at this rate, Ezra has been being assaulted. They said that they were assaulted when the guy at the bar declared himself as a Nazi. Miller then repeatedly aggressively asks for the police officer's name and badge number, which he appears to provide. At this point, Miller seems to start walking onto the street, and the police handcuff the actor, who invokes both the Fourth and Ninth Amendments. Then Miller says, "Hey, you touched my private parts. Please don't do that." A police officer says, "I did not." So Ezra says, "I'm transgender, non-binary, and I don't want to be searched by a man." The video cuts forward to the police bagging Miller's belongings. "Please don't take them from me. The flash ring means a lot to me." Oh, I do hope Ezra knows their flash ring doesn't really have magical powers, and Warner Brothers definitely has another one just like it, waiting to find a less problematic finger to put it on. As for this NFT art, I would like to see it. Unfortunately, Ezra's Instagram account has been deleted, so I guess we'll have to wait until it goes to auction at Christie's. And there's also a video of Ezra's arrest. Oh, let me see. Okay, so I just watched a video of Ezra Miller being arrested by the police. He does say that he does film himself for NFT crypto art when he gets assaulted. He says that he has the assault on video, that the guy revealed himself to be a Nazi and then he assaulted him, like, apparently out of nowhere. The guy says Ezra spit on him, and I think Ezra was running or had them chasing him or something. Got the police upset. They say he wasn't complying. I don't know. That's it. So that's really what's been going on. I don't know what's going on, because Ezra seemed like such a nice person, and then on May 10th, they said they're considering replacing Ezra's role in The Flash with Dylan O'Brien. Yeah, I do something. These things must be driving Ezra over the edge. So, many fans are anxious to know what will happen with his character, The Flash. He's a staple of the DC universe, and it was expected that he'd be appearing in many more films in the coming years, but knowing the allegations against Ezra Miller, not to mention several arrests, everyone knows that many other actors have been canceled for less. And with that in mind, we've learned that Warner Brothers is considering their option when it comes to replacing Ezra Miller. Screen Geek claims their sources have told them that Warner Brothers has a list of possible replacements. While it's not known who is on that list, Screen Geek claims that one name has been tossed around: 30-year-old actor Dylan O'Brien from MTV's Teen Wolf and the Maze Runner series. Regardless, Warner Brothers is allegedly considering him to replace 29-year-old Ezra Miller, should the situation get to that. Fans already have thoughts on the matter and have chosen actor Grant Austin as a possible replacement. Grant already plays a version of The Flash on the CW's The Flash, which does make it sound like he's pretty qualified for the job, should the job become available. Who is not thrilled about the news is only going to be Hawaii, because Ezra may have to stay there if he ain't got no job. They need to get Ezra back to the mainland in his Flash suit ASAP. Alright? And let Ezra not book any more flights back. Because I don't know. Hold on. What's wrong? Miller. See if I find anything. Hold on. So Crazy Days and Nights, it says, I totally get why this family would not want their daughter to be with a pedophile superhero. However, you did let her travel out of the country alone with him when she was 14 and the superhero was 25. Okay? And the comments are as follows. I don't understand how she's even in the public eye. How did they become close? It's a bizarre match. Bad parenting doesn't mitigate Ezra's crimes, not even a little bit. Some people should never be parents because their judgment is dangerously skewed. Still amazed at the number of parents that allowed their children to be with Michael Jackson after he was accused. I want to know if there's anything deeper than they, like, Oh, Crazy Days and Nights, June 17. A studio executive was overheard yesterday saying the only way they can possibly salvage a superheroes movie is if the star commits suicide. Otherwise, they are screwed. This is definitely a first. Oh, no. I don't know what's going on with Ezra Miller. You know, I like to go a little bit deeper. I don't really understand what's going on. Something pushed them over the deep end. I just don't have a clue. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm literally trying to figure it out because it's got to be something. It's got to be a reason why they, them are doing this. So, all right. They also said that the police touched their genitals. I don't even understand. Like, I'm so confused with what's going on. I feel like there's some... Gotta be some conspiracy or something because Ezra was born September 30th, 1992. 1992. The first film was in After School 2008. So 1992 and 8 is 2016 years old. They did their first film that we know about. So all right, let's figure this out. In 2010, Miller dated Zoe Kravitz. So apparently Miller was straight, but came out in 2012. Miller doesn't identify as a man or a woman. Miller identifies as they, them. Okay, so here we go. In 2018, Miller showed support for the Me Too movement and revealed a personal experience of that kind with a Hollywood producer and a director, both of whom were left unnamed. They gave me wine and I was underage. They were like, hey, want to be in our movie about gay revolution? And I was like, no, you guys are monsters. Later that year, they announced that they were in a polyamorous relationship with multiple people, including their bandmates in the rock band Sons of an Illustrious Father. And then in January 27, 2022, Miller posted a video on Instagram threatening the Ku Klux Klan. So in 2018, Miller revealed that a Hollywood producer and director had molested them when they were underage. So this is the basis of all of these actions now. This child is crying out. This child can be any age. This child is still operating at the age that they were molested by allegedly Hollywood producer. So on June 28, 2011, in the midst of filming The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Miller was a passenger in a vehicle that was pulled over in Pittsburgh for a broken brake light. Charged for drug possession because they had 20 grams of marijuana. Then in April 2020, Miller was choking a woman and throwing her to the ground. And they escorted Miller out of the bar. So they started a campaign against Miller in 2020. After 2018, when Miller admitted that they had been molested. 2011, Miller was going through some things and got arrested for some marijuana. This Takata Iron Eyes is an activist, an 18-year-old activist that's been running around with Miller for a couple years. The relationship began in 2016 when Miller was 23 and Takada was 12. Takada has flown to London in 2017 to meet Miller on the set of Fantastic Beasts. She dropped out of school in 2021, allegedly to follow Miller. They allege that Miller caused bruises on the child's body and Miller manipulated the child to believe they are transgender. The child responded by denying the allegations, and they have a restraining order against an order of protection against Miller on behalf of the child. So on June 16, a mother and her 12-year-old child were granted a temporary harassment prevention order against Miller in Massachusetts after the latter allegedly threatened the woman's family and showed inappropriate behavior towards the child. According to the mother and child, Miller, who was originally visiting a neighbor, showed up at the family's house unexpectedly while wearing a bulletproof vest and brandishing a gun before pestering the child by uncomfortably touching their hips. I just want to know. I just really want to know. Something ain't coming together for me. I gotta go deeper into this. I'll go deeper into this. We got to do Ezra Miller by Ezra Miller self, so we can figure out what's really going on with Ezra Miller. There's more to this story than that, and I'm gonna find it because I need to know what caused Ezra Miller to go off the deep end in this case. Is it the electrocution, the shocks, the medication, the drugs? Like, what is it? All right. So I am done with it. That's it for Ezra Miller. Fantastic Beasts, and I don't know, Ezra is playing these dark roles. Credence is a dark role, and I think that Ezra is maybe one of those method actors that they got to pull out the darkness in order to act and operate, and I think that's what's going on, and the darkness is consuming him or her, them, they, or something of that nature. We'll find out. We'll go deeper into it. Cafeteria Lab is just here to figure it out because I'm definitely interested and I have questions and I know the world has questions. So I want to thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being here with me while we've talked about all these things. We do have some more things to talk about, so you'll see me coming back. It has been Cafeteria Lavish. It's Mona Indefatigable Heights. If you like what you see, you like what you hear, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified when I go live. Also, do let me know down below what you think about Ezra Miller, what you think about Elon Musk, SpaceX, NASA, Tesla, what you think about Basketball Wives, The Housewives of Real Housewives of Atlanta, also my Fashion Nova haul, whatever it is that we've talked about in our videos today. Let me know what you think. As always, I do love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me your time and your energy. I love you. It's Cafeteria Labrish. Bye bye.